I'm gonna show you the basic setup on how to use the Kratos flywheel. Carabiner's hooked at a storage point, so if I'm moving this around, I pull that little pull pin, and that's how this nice little carabiner works. So next thing we're gonna do is we wanna set this at the end position, the longest position of whatever length that we're gonna do. So we're gonna pull this all the way out and find the end position and stop it with our foot here. So we've got its extent. And what we want is we want this to be at the end position. So I'm gonna do a curl, all right? So I'm gonna hook my attachment in here, and it's not quite there. I can go a little bit higher. So this will let out the strap. So if I press up, this comes out, and it'll also go in. So if I need to shorten it, I just let some slack loose, and I've got it here, okay? So again, I'm gonna pull it out so I can get into a complete position. This is why it makes it great for the foot. If you apply too much pressure on there, you might lock it in place, all right? So now I've got that there. The foot pedal, there's a little grooves on the flywheel on this side. So it allows you to get a little bit of momentum in here and start the movement. And now I can start training. All right. If I'm setting up something that's a squat type pattern, I'm actually gonna keep it pretty tight at the top of the movement, because once you start lifting, it's actually gonna suck the belt in tighter and get you lower. So you're actually gonna be just a little bit lower than where you would start. So just follow the same process. I'm gonna loop this in here and set it up and get to the end. And you see it's too high now. It's up here. I'm gonna stop the flywheel so it stops moving. I'm actually going to set down a little bit lower. Boom. So you can see, don't quite have my knees locked. I'm real tight right here, because as soon as I start squatting, it'll kind of suck that up. Boom. You can see it's adjusted perfectly. If I didn't do that, what would happen if I just like, I'm standing, it looks like it's good, but I'm gonna have it end up with a little bit of slack at the top, which is fine, but I'm just showing you how to set it up so you can see. It keeps going, and then it comes back and catches. There's a little bit of a gap there. So to go from the horizontal to the vertical post, do the same thing. I'm gonna pull the pin, slide it forward. No rotation, I'm gonna keep it in the same plane and move it up. And I'm gonna drop it right on here. So you can see there's 2 pins here, 2 catches here. And as you put it in, on the opposite side, there's a little push button that you'll need to push in and drop it into position. Now, I can set this at whatever height I want. So here, if I was doing a standing row, I'm gonna follow the same exact process for setting this up at the extent of the movement. So I can step completely off the platform now. So unlike when it's in the horizontal position, you have to be on the platform. Now it's solidly mounted to the rack, so you can actually move anywhere in space, which makes it really nice. So I'm gonna set this with my foot, get to a position right here that I wanna finish in, and screw it up. And now start my movement. With this, if you're not quite in the right position, you may not need to adjust the length. You could actually step further away or further back. So if I switched to this movement, I could just change my foot position. So this allows me to do a lot of different exercises once I've got a general length set. So right here, I'm cueing the lats with this movement, and now I'm gonna change my position so that I can do a row. And I might be able to move into another movement from there as well. Say a tricep kickback. I'm gonna be up here on the platform, finishing right there, okay? So it allows you to get a general length. If I want to move this to a different height, I can do that right here. We've got a lot of weight on this mechanism, so make sure that you've got a good grasp on it and don't drop it. So you can adjust the height before you put the rack on here or after. Just after, we've got to deal with the weight, make sure we don't drop it. So we're going to pull this pin and we're going to lift up and slide it out. And now I can move into a different position. Again, make sure you've got supporting it well. Pull the pin, make sure that it slides all the way down and the pin positions in. If you've got it sitting here like this, it's not in and it's going to come off the rack. Boom, clicks into position. And now we've got it set up to a different position. So maybe I can hit the muscles from a different angle. In any of these positions, this movable component right here is when you're finished, it's a nice place to hold your device. Now we're going to change the rotational mass. So when we change this, the smaller weight will allow us to spool faster, and the heavier weight will cause it to spool a little bit slower. The amount of resistance is actually not based on the weight, it's based on how much effort you pull into it. So you can still pull just as hard with the lighter ones. It's just going to have to spool way faster for you to be able to generate that kind of force. So it's all about getting the desired for the movement. So we've got this little push button right here. I'm going to press that down. That allows it to slide on these pins. All of them come completely off. But we're going to go ahead and add some weight. All right. So we've got this one here. We're going to rotate it just a little bit. If it doesn't slide on right away, it means you're just not lined with the splines. Get it lined with the splines. Press it all the way in. Now we're going to slide this on. It won't go until I press the adapter, and then I need to push with quite a bit of force. And you'll hear it click into place, and there's a little splines here at the distance and thickness of every single plate. So they'll be locked into position every time. So if it's not locked in, it can still slide out maybe one and allow you to have a little bit of movement in the weights. Let's talk attachments. So right now we have this set up with a single handle on here, and that's going to work good for basically any single arm movement, except if we're doing some movements where we're starting to run into the pulley, or the pulley's running on your arm, might cause a little bit of friction. In that case, you want to just add a little bit extra distance. So we're actually going to take this off, and we're going to put the lengthening strap in here. The lengthening strap has many loops along the way, so we can actually choose the position we want, but I'm just going to have it in the end position. So now you can see I'm not going to run into that. The only thing to be aware of is to make sure you have enough movement so that this is not running into the device. So this much strap, I would need to move really far away to be able to do that. You wouldn't need to add that much lengthening strap in here. For two-handed movements, you're going to mount the lengthening strap in the center, and right now I've got it looped all the way at the end. There's multiple loops along that you can choose from, but this allows me now to do two movements. I'm going to adjust this out so I've got a little bit of room to play with. And now I can come out and hit some wide movements, two-handed movements. A lot of variety of movements that I can play with now that I've got two hands open. So you just need to use as much length out so that you can get in whatever desired position you are, but not making it so long that you've got to stand really far away or that you run this into here. So this is the absolute most. It'd be very rare that you go to that, but that would be going right here to a 2 full hands wide. This will allow you to go to. And those will mount with an extra set of carabiners for each handle. So this is the Angles 90 grip, and it has a lot of versatility. So we can see when I put it in our hand, it's really well ergonomically designed for a lot of movements. It just fits the structure, and I've got this finger that wraps through as well. All right, we can change this a little bit based on whatever your movement is, and the key reason for that is to actually shift this So it's another handle. So we're going to take this cable, pull it through, and you see I'm folding it in half right here, right now. This is an important trick to note. So now, after I move this through, boom, you can see I've got a grip that I can use like this. All right, so we've got a completely different style grip. And you can see it's angled with the outside towards my hand. It's going to create a little less hand fatigue. All right, if I come through and pull it through the other way, and I do the same thing again, I'm going to, again, fold that in half. It'll go through here like this, but it'll just fall out. So every time you set it down. Now I've got it angled away from my hand. It's actually going to create a little bit more power, boom, as I go in here. But it might also strain the wrist a little bit more. So if you're getting fatigued, you want to find the ergonomic grip. But this is two different options for how you want to have this grip, either ergonomically or more of a power position. Take this out, and now I've got this incredibly ergonomic grip that I can use for all my movements, regardless of which way I put this in my hand. So really, really versatile. This is why we include this in the kit, because this is the most versatile and ergonomically created handle that covers so many different functions all in one. So just remember, we're going to press the little tab on this side and pull it off. You see no movement again. Here's the feet that attach to the floor. We're just going to go through and make sure that these stay out of the way as we're coming down. And boom, we're in the floor position. Every now and again, you might end up with a little twist in one of these like this. Don't freak out or get overly concerned. It's still gonna work just fine. But if you do get a bunch of those in there, go ahead and make sure that you're taking your time to untwist this. That shouldn't happen naturally, but every now and again, you'll get that. But make sure as you do that, that you're pulling the full length all the way through and checking to make sure that you got most of those removed. Again, a few in there are gonna be just fine, but if you've been moving it and not paying attention to that orientation, you might have actually twisted it at some point in time. But the easiest way is just to always make sure we've got this loose like this and held up, and that we never change that orientation as we're moving around, okay? Just like this, one to the next. And that'll ensure that we don't get anything twisted up in there, okay? All right, so this is the belt. This is the best belt that is out there. It comes from Spud, and these are the ones that are available. It's got an adjustment on here, so you can actually adjust how far the loops are. I recommend pulling it up actually all the way, getting this in tight. The more it hangs down, the more chance we have of it coming into contact with the floor. And you can see we've actually shortened ours quite a bit. They're set up to be versatile to work on any types of machines. So there's a lot of length in there, and you just don't need that dangling around, getting caught up in there. So there we go. We've got this set up. I've got some good tension right at the beginning. You can use my foot or my hand to get this started. Our strap length you can set on the fly at any time. So I can reach down here with the handle and let it pull in or out, or it is long enough that you can do with your foot from a lot of different positions. Let's say I wanted to stand out here for some reason, okay? So this is a great way to adjust that strap length without having to set it up in advance. This is the front squat harness. I really love this tool with the flywheel. It really helps load up the quads quite a bit in the squat and allows you to do some interesting things. So it adjusts in the back like a seat belt, okay? So you'll need to play around with to get the right length. And you might need a partner to set this up. I definitely would. So So they would have to click the back and get it tight back there. Once you've got it, you may be able to put it on by yourself. So I'm gonna make sure this is, I don't know who used this last, if it was adjusted for me or not. But now I can get it over the top all by myself. It's a little loose. I might be able to possibly tighten that if you've got a little bit of significant mobility. But right now it's pretty loose on me. So it's really gonna hang down quite a bit, which may cause some issues, but this is still gonna work pretty well. You'll notice the ring is pointed up. It looks like it's pointed the wrong direction, but what we don't want is that pulley to be sitting there right on our stomach. So this helps create a little bit of separation for us. So it's quite desirable. Exactly why you need that foot position. I wouldn't be able to do this by myself unless I knew the exact setup length, but I don't need to. It's set up on the fly. With the front squat, you might need to readjust after a few reps of the first set because it's going to suck that into position for you. There we go. You can see I've got a little bit of slack at the top. Still can do the movement, but I might want to adjust it a little bit tighter for myself. There we go. There we go. Some good tightness on that. These light me up so fast with this front squat on this. And that's the beautiful thing about this quick release stretch. You don't have to worry about getting yourself stuck in the bottom of a squat or bottom of a front squat. You can just unpin that or just relax a little bit and let the load come off. Really great spud accessory. We've got the best accessories possible with our flywheel. I've got this in the outer position so that I can do some calf raises. Now, the only thing is balance gets to be a little bit of a problem. There's a lot of companies that sell you like ski poles or other add-on accessories. Our accessory is absolutely free. We'll put a mount hole so you can move this anywhere that you want. Put any sort of strap that you want through here. So now I've got a counterbalance point. This puts all my force in there. Guess what? Oh man, I can really get back on my squats. For this, I would probably want to lower the mount so I couldn't actually possibly pull myself up, but still do a counterbalance. So I'll do just that. Down position. Boom. So now, I can get back here on the squat, really fire things up. Obviously, I can't even help myself because of my squat. I'm actually above the position. Boom. Really tremendous. And this is why you may have the farther horizontal position to play around with things. I'm putting the Kratos away to create a little bit more space in our little lab. So got that locked away nice and easy. The end is always going to be under this. This is what captures that in the down position. So we actually just have to slide it out. Boom. We've got freedom of movement. So I can just move this around, carry it somewhere. We've got some cam design in the feet. So it pops up. And we'll want to stay in position instead of falling over. So you can stand against the wall there. And back down. Put it in position. Slide it back in. Boom. And we're good to go. I could toss this in the back of my truck and my pickup to travel around. I could throw it on a little cart in a hotel to move around. It's large, but it's pretty manageable.